conversation. I think that, you know, as both of you know, this is something that's very important. It's something we need to talk about more in the Black community, period, but something I definitely think women need to do. So I'm excited that both of you are here.
Thank you for having me. No, it's something we are required to do. At least I think I'm required to do. We got to educate our people.
We talk about more in a Black community, period. Yeah. But something I definitely. Can you hear that?
Yes.
We got to educate our people. We talk about more in a Black community, period.
Yeah.
But something I definitely.
Can you hear that?
Yes. We got to educate our people. We talk about more in a Black.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let everyone in. Just really fast.
I am so humbled to be here. Thank you. You know, I may not sit in the same arena as Miss Kimberly over there, but
you do.
I have a little bit of knowledge here to share with the ladies, and I think even one nugget can make a ripple. You know.
Yes, that's it. You deserve to be here just as much as I do.
Thank you. I'm humbled. Thank you, Joy.
Absolutely. You are both welcome. So Kim does have to leave a little bit early. So okay. I'm going to go ahead and start letting people in. It is being streamed now on Facebook. So if you do, you should be able to see it on Facebook. If you do go to Facebook, you may be able to go to my page and then potentially share. But really fast, so Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the privilege and the power of prayer, Lord. We pray that you would touch our mouths. We pray that you would prepare each and every person that is listening in so that something that we say can penetrate their spirit, can penetrate their mind, Lord, and so that they will know the importance of stewardship, finances and stewardship. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. So Amen. Let me go ahead and meet everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know it's a little music in the background, but I had this on for a reason. In terms of some old school Donna Summers, she worked hard for the money. And so each of us, as confident women, as women in general, we know that we work hard for our money. Well, the point of today is, yeah, we work hard for our money, but we need to make sure that we saving our money, investing our money, that we're making our money work for us, you know, as well. So I'm excited to be here with all of you. I'm excited for my two amazing guests that I have today. I am going to start with Kimberly. I am so excited to say this. Not only is she one of my sorority sisters in the first and finest Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, but also we had the pleasure of meeting years ago in Florida. We were both speaking at an event in Florida, and we stayed connected all these years, and it has been amazing, amazing, amazing. Staying connected with you, being connected, seeing what you do, sitting in on some of your investing conferences or webinars. And so I'm excited to have you here. Can you just share a little bit of information about yourself?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. It's nothing happens by coincidence. So that panel was ordained and meant to be that we served on a few years ago. So first of all, thank you for having me. I am humbled and I am honored to be here on this wonderful webinar. Like I tell you all the time, and I tell everyone, I'm required to do this. I'm required to educate my people. This financial gift that I have isn't just for me. And so it is for me to go and spread. So I'm Kimberly Stewart. I'm a certified financial planner, chartered life underwriter, certified in long-term care. I also own my own financial services practice, KRS Wealth Management. I've been the owner and CEO of the firm for about 11 years. We have over 300 clients, and manage millions of dollars. So I'm thankful to God for longevity. I'm thankful to God for his blessings, and I'm happy to share what I've learned after being in financial services for about 29 years. I'm aging myself, I know.
Well, you look fabulous. You look fabulous. So it's all good. So next, I want to introduce Miss Shonita. Now, I do want to share, does not have anything to do with finances. Let me tell you how Shonita and I met. So we actually met at church. We were both serving at church. But there was this man that was trying to get to me. So I asked Shonita, can you walk me out? Can you walk with me really fast? Walk with me really fast so he won't say anything to me. And that's what I'm going to say. That's literally what happened. And that's actually what got us communicating on a whole nother level. But we were both serving together. There was a man that had some interest. And you know how sometimes we have to do, ladies. So I did, you know, I sort of used Shonita, but it was for the good. The Lord knew what he was doing. So with that being said, Shonita, I'm excited to have you today. So can you just share some information about yourself?
Sure. Firstly, let me start off with that introduction you gave. I am my sister's keeper. Okay. First of all, there was a need and nothing was going to happen in my presence. So let me first say that. Secondly, thank you for the opportunity to speak on this platform. Just like Kimberly stated, I am truly humbled. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I am Shonita Colbert, the owner of the recently formed Why Our Money Matters, where I help my clients with personal finances, budgeting, managing household expenses. We go over debt repayment, understanding credit score and repair. My background is accounting and finance. It all began at the exemplary Cass Technical High School. So shout out to all my technicians out there. I graduated from Cass as a young mother, majoring in accounting. I then went on to earn my associate's and bachelor's degree from Davenport University, all while working full-time in corporate America, raising my young daughter. I've had numerous accounting roles and in the logistics arena. Currently, I am a master's student at Central Michigan University. I am pursuing a master's of finance. My 9 to 5, I am assistant financial controller at a privately owned trucking, logistics, and fleet services company, where I get to do what I call comb the spaghetti, if you will. I am responsible for the integrity of the general ledger, accuracy of the financial statements and financial reporting. I also assist with the budgeting and forecasting, just to name a few things that I'm responsible for. But out of all the accolades, the work experience, even the formal education, I think the best experience is life experience, right? Like you're talking to someone right now who at one time had 24 credit cards active at one time, and they all had balances. So I'm here to say I've not made the best decisions in life, financial or otherwise, but I did realize that when I got sick and tired of being sick and tired, it was time to stick to that budget. If I wanted change, I had to do it. I did it through sacrifice and just making that budget truly be the roadmap. You hear the cliche, people say, oh, you want financial freedom and financial independence. I literally use planning and using my money for freedom, literally and financially.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So again, thank you both. Again, I can't say it enough. I appreciate both of you. And I just want to go ahead and say it now. Kimberly does have, I'm so glad you were able to be with us. She does have another commitment. So she is going to have to leave a little earlier. So Kimberly, whenever you have to leave, you know, feel free to pop off, you know, if we're already talking. And again, I appreciate you in advance. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll stay as long as I can.
Absolutely. So the reason why I wanted to have this is because this is something that that I think in general, we don't necessarily talk about in the Black community a lot. And definitely you end up seeing where a lot of women in general, women end up in a bit of a bind. You know, when we think about and when we hear about even marriages, a lot of marriages suffer because of finances. So finances is tied to so much. And like Shonita said, sometimes you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know, when I think about, for me, the journey started, to be quite honest, some years ago, and it was with Dave Ramsey Financial Peace. Now that program is not for everyone, but you have to find the program that works for you. But that was eye-opening for me as it pertained to really getting on track and understanding the importance of saving, of budgeting, of investing as well. And so I got to the point where, again, like Shonita, I just, this is crazy. I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck. And so that's where everything, started with me. So Kimberly, one of the things that I know frequently, I've seen you, again, we follow each other on social media, and frequently I see you post about and talk about, and I'm going to start here for a reason. But one of the things I see you post about and talk about is insurance. People need an GoFundMe when something happens, and even though, we talk about more of the life insurance or burial, where people end up talking about, posting a GoFundMe. Sometimes you see GoFundMe for some of everything. Mm-hmm. This is no offense to anyone on here, anyone listening who may have used a GoFundMe, but the point is we want to try to break that and actually have situations where there are finances saved, there are finances available, there is life insurance available to take care of some of those needs. So can you just share a little bit about the importance of making sure the house is in order so that we don't have to use GoFundMe as I guess as a lifeboat or a life jacket or whatever you need.
Doc, you're going to step right into this one, because that is my soapbox. That is the one. I have a couple of soapboxes, and that's my main one. And so the reason why life insurance is my soapbox is simply this. You have a 100% chance of dying. It is that simple. There are no ifs, ands, buts, or suppose. And so it often amazes me that we will insure everything else. We'll insure cell phones, you'll put insurance on your cars, you'll put insurance on your house, but you will not insure the most important asset. And that's you, that's your ability to earn a living. And so what ends up happening is, because we don't insure that asset and because we don't purchase life insurance like we should, a couple of things happen. One, you leave your family to financially and legally grieve, in addition to the emotional grieving. And that's not something that has to happen. If you put the right plan in place, your family can focus on emotionally grieving as opposed to financially grieving your death. There's already a burden there. Second thing is, that's one of the reasons why I believe the wealth gap continues to widen. We make more as a people, we make more money than we ever did, but we have less to show for it, and we have less to leave to the generation coming behind us. And so when we talk about generational wealth, we can't create generational wealth because we're still paying for past generations. See, mom and dad and aunts and grandmas and all of the, our elders, that's the past generation. And so when we're still paying because they died and they left some bills instead of a will, or they, their body is now dust, but they still don't have a living trust. When we die and still have to take care of past generations, that inhibits our ability to leave money for future generations. And the other thing that we don't seem to get, in that life insurance is the one thing that passes tax-free to the beneficiary. So not only can you leave something for your heirs, but you can also leave them something that is tax-free that they don't pay any taxes on. And it often amazes me. We will fill up, pre-pandemic, we will fill up churches. On Sunday, we put on our Sunday best, we go to church, the pews are filled, the parking lots got all these big, pretty cars, and we're going to worship God. And we're going to give reverence to God. And what I don't understand is the book that we all follow, the Bible, says that the hairs on this pretty head are numbered. I have an appointed day to be born, and there's an appointed day for me to die. And so if I know this, and if I know that God cannot lie, he does not lie. If I know this, why wouldn't I plan for it? because it's the one certainty. And it's something, and what I don't understand is in our community, we seem to think that it's taboo to talk about this. And like if we talk about death, you know, that old saying that our family likes to say, oh, you're burning bread on someone. No, simply because I talk about you dying doesn't mean you're going to actually die right here and now. And so it's taboo in our community to talk about this. Oh, I don't want to leave, you know, so-and-so some money. They're going to go do this with it. Or, oh, I don't want to leave so-and-so. They're not going to spend my money. What do you care? You're dead. It doesn't matter what they do with it, because they might go on and be the next Mark Zuckerberg or the next Jeff Bezos, or even yet, you know, not even to that degree. Part of our problem is that our children start this race so far behind. Becky and little Johnny start at the 0-yard line. Shaniqua and Bobby Brown Jr. starting at the -30-yard line. And it's because we don't leave wealth, and we don't leave an inheritance. The Bible, again, I don't understand it, because the Bible talks about leaving an inheritance, not just for your children, your children's children. And so I don't understand why, if we have a 100% certainty that this event is going to happen, if I told you all, hey, I'm gonna give you this lottery ticket and you got a 100% chance to win, y'all gonna run me over, get to 7-Eleven or get into your local lottery office or whatever it is you need to get that check cashed. Same thing with life insurance. You have a 100% chance of dying. Insure your most precious asset. My ability to earn a living is my most precious asset. But I see people that are, oh, I've got to insure my cell phone. Okay. What is that cell phone going to do for you and your family and generations to come? So yes, life insurance is one of my soapboxes. It's because it's something we don't buy, and there's no reason. And I'm going to be opposite of Dr. Joy. I am going to offend you. GoFundMe was not meant to be life insurance. GoFundMe was not meant for that. It was meant as a crowdsourcing, not to be, all right, if somebody died, we got to raise $10,000 on GoFundMe. No, that's not what it was meant for. And life insurance is the only thing that you typically pay pennies for and you get dollars for. And so, and what I mean by that is you're going to pay a premium, but the payout can be so substantially more than what you actually put into the premium if you plan and do it right. And so there's no reason why we should be, you know, posting GoFundMes and, you know, back in the old days, having fish fries and all of those things. No, life insurance is available. The biggest pricing factor in life insurance is your age. And so the younger you buy it, the more inexpensive it is for you to have. And like I said, we have a 100% chance of dying. Why not insure that?
That's true. That's true. Thank you so much for that. So Shonita, I'm going to transition to you as it pertains to, so as Kimberly said, we're talking about life insurance, and sometimes it may be a situation where maybe people are saying, you know what, it's too expensive. What's your recommendation as it pertains to budgeting and saving for, we budget and save for that concert. We budget and save to go see Maxwell or whoever else. We budget and save for those new shoes, the new Jordans or whatever, you know, the case may be, or the new Jimmy Choos, whatever it may be. So what's your recommendation as it pertains to budgeting and saving?
Well, my recommendation basically would be put your why in front of you. That is primary for me for a lot of things. Just like Kimberly stated, it's a necessity. You're going to die. You need to have it. You need to adjust for it, adjust your budget. Like when people think of budgets, they think of confinement. They think of restriction, right? No one has a warm fuzzy when you start talking about budgeting. But at some point, you need to assess necessities. So is it absolutely necessary that you have 7 streaming apps? Is it necessary that you continuously use DoorDash or Uber Eats? Like, are there some things that you can chop away and start prioritizing your budget as it pertains to the things that are important to you? And if it's not important to you, just like Kimberly stated, make it be important for your children behind you, your generation behind you. You can adjust your budget for goals. You can adjust your budget. You know, some of my clients even want to just, I go paycheck to paycheck, and even going from paycheck to paycheck, I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul, Shonita. Help me. So you set the framework for that, and you can adjust your budget to fit your particular situation and circumstance. Some people have the mindset that, oh my God, I got this budget and it's so strict and I have to do it this way. If you make it livable and realistic, you can work it. It's not going to be easy in the beginning. Nothing worth having in the beginning is. But once you get it and you work it, you get in a groove to it, put your why in front of you and adjust accordingly.
So I'll tell you one of the things, and Kiera, I think you're on here. I can't remember. Anyway, Kiera and I, my niece Kiera and I, we ended up starting a savings challenge a couple of years ago. And some of you who know me, I was talking about the savings challenge. I want to say it was maybe it started, I think, it was 2020. It was towards the end of 2020. It started it when I moved to the DMV. And I was serious about that thing. I had a goal, what I was going to save. And I have always been, when I have a goal, I'm going to meet the goal. I'm going to meet it through hell or high water. And so, for me, it was a matter of, just some things that I did to meet that goal. It was some practical things. So when you even look at Uber Eats and DoorDash, when you look at what what they charge, you can go up to sometimes close to $10, what they charge. And that's not including if you end up, giving a tip or whatever the case may be. So even though $10 to some people may seem like, dang, it's only $10, that adds up. That the $10 multiple that, it can add up. And so I still enjoyed myself, but I also cut back on certain things. So I started prepping, doing a lot more meal prepping, so that going and grabbing something or doing Uber Eats or DoorDash, it was not, I didn't have to do it because I already had something there. So it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm starving, I'm about to, whatever the case may be. So I started doing things like that. I did pull back as it pertained to mani-pedis. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go get my own nail polish and start doing, nail file and start doing. But for me, it was whatever I had to do. So what are some practical, tips and suggestions that you may have for how people can potentially, just something, and in the chat for everyone, what are some things that you may have done to pull back, or, so that you can budget a little more, so that you can save a little more? What are some practical things that either of you, have that you may want to share with people in terms of how they can actually start saving a little more?
One of the things I want to make sure I mention in this is life insurance is not for the person in the casket. Life insurance is for the people in the pews. It's for the people you leave behind. And so if it's important for you to take care of the people that you leave behind and to ensure that they are financially well off when you leave, then there are a couple of places you can find it. You mentioned a few of them, Dr. Joy. I eat nails. Eating out. When people come and ask me, Kimberly, they say to me, Kimberly, I can't afford to invest. I can't afford to buy life insurance. The first thing I ask them is, give me 3 months of your bank statements. That's what I want to see. I want to see 3 months of your bank statements. And most of the time when I go through your bank statement, your biggest expense besides living and mortgage and things of that nature is eating out. Because we've become such a microwave society. We want it now. We want it quick. I can get it on the way home. No, think about it. How many of you all, I never ate out as a kid. We ate out every 2 weeks when my parents got paid. I got McDonald's. Other than that, I ate at home every day. So that's one. Your cable TV, Shonita mentioned all these streaming services. You sign up for a 7-day trial and the next thing you know, you're signed up to 7 of them. Go back and look at how you spend money. The one thing I tell people all the time is if we can change our mindsets, we can change our situations. If you can change how you spend money, you can change your situation. Shonita mentioned something very important and I'll let her speak. I don't call it a budget because budget to me sounds like dieting. And I've been trying to lose 20 pounds for the last 2 years. And so what I call it is a spending plan. Every dollar that I have must have a purpose. So if you ask me how much money is in my wallet, I can tell you exactly how much is in my wallet to the penny, because every dollar must have a purpose. And Shonita, I'll let you give some tips as well.
Thank you. And I'll say to Kimberly, what you mentioned, the spending plan where every dollar has its purpose. That's actually a type of budget. And I had no idea actually that these budgets had types, right? Like I just knew I was working a plan. And it's basically called the zero-based budget. Every income is associated to an expense till you get to zero. So those expenses don't necessarily all have to be bills. You know what I mean? Like you put in there flexibility and room, whether you call it miscellaneous, whether you call it fun, whether you call it going out, whatever you want to call it, you have to put it in there. You like pad it, if you will. You guys touched on the majority of the budgeting tips that I had. Like, it seems like we're all on the same page. Another thing I thought of with people being successful with budgeting, for me, I learned how to do my own hair. I've been doing my own hair based off YouTube videos. I can't begin to tell you how much money I've saved. And that's I'm being totally transparent. One of my girlfriends, she likes nails. Well, she doesn't do her nails. She learned how to do it. She ordered kits off Amazon. Like, you find areas where you can cut the spending. Some people may laugh, but I remember as a child, and I still do this today, I don't necessarily drink pop anymore, but I like my ice drinks, right? There's a 10-cent deposit on those. Do you know that those suckers add up? It's money, you guys, whether it's $3 here, $4 here, after a while, like, you have to see the end goal. Like, I am an advocate of short-term goaling yourself to death. You know, that's why I did the associate's degree. That felt great. I wanted to walk across the stage. All right, I got to get the bachelor's, you know, next thing, bachelor's, you know. Now here we are, umpteen years later, master's degree. But those things add up, seriously. And I think the one thing that surprises me is the streaming apps, and that's why I mentioned it. We can get these apps, forget about them, and then all of a sudden there's a charge for it. $14.99 here, $12.99 here, Amazon, $16.99 here. And if you're one of the ones that's going paycheck to paycheck, that could be detrimental, because now you're about to get bounce check fees, overdrafts, unnecessarily, if you would just keep an eye on your spending.
Thank you. And thank you both for that. And I'll tell you, so a couple of people in the chat, I want to read a couple of them. So I see Meredith mentioned she got a second job, but she doesn't recommend that necessarily as a long-term strategy. I see my sister stopped buying pet toys for Kobe. If any of you know me, you may have heard me talk about Kobe, my Yorkie nephew. So she stopped buying pet toys every time. Now, see, she said, you got to know the words that people use. Every time I walk in the store. So every now and then she's still buying them. Meredith also mentioned getting rid of cable TV. I see someone from the iPhone mentioned I started doing my own hair. And Meredith also said she started doing her own hair as well. And I'll tell you something, one of the first things that I did that was major is I looked for different car insurance. So as the time that I actually first got a car when I was 16, Sabrina knows this, my sister knows this, all of us were pretty much State Farm people. For whatever reason, we were all State Farm. State Farm was very expensive, but because that was all we knew, I sort of stayed with State Farm until, again, for me, it was the financial peace course when I started looking, what are some ways that I can save? So I started calling around, getting quotes from different insurance companies. And when I tell you my insurance came down so much, and then I took that money and then I actually started putting it actually to the side in terms of savings. So there's a couple different things, you know, you can potentially do. You naturally need to make sure that you get rid of the debt that we have. We have to work on debt. We have to work on savings. We have to work on investing as well. The other thing I was going to say that I actually started doing was looking for certain things that I could pay in full. So instead of paying month to month, maybe it's something where if you pay a full year, you would get a little bit of a discount. So I started looking at doing those services as well. And then Netflix is trying to mess up our groove. So I don't know about anybody else, but
no more sharing passwords.
Yes. And so that's a big issue in terms of the sharing thing, because that was something that I actually shared with my sister. So I was actually on hers. So now Netflix looked like they may be trying to, mess up our groove with that, but we'll see. But again, there's some other, ways that we can actually, work on saving, potentially investing, and other things. But what I will say, and then I want to jump to Kimberly with this. What I will say is that for me, I also left room for fun. For me, what I did was, even with the savings challenge, if I met my goal, then the day after Christmas, December 26, 2020, I could go shopping. But I had to meet my goal before I could go shopping, go out to Tyson's in Virginia. And so I did meet the goal. I did end up, being able to go shopping. So for me, I tie something that I really want to my actual goal. So if I meet this goal, then I'm going to go to the Magnificent Mile, and I'm going to go to one of my favorite stores. And even though Bonita isn't there anymore, but I'm going to go to one of my favorite stores and buy, treat myself. So that is something that helps me as it pertains to the goals that I have. So Kimberly, in terms of going back to you investing, so I just want to transition just a little bit to investing and the importance of, I'm so sorry. One last thing. I just thought about this. The other thing that I do is I have an Acorn app. So I don't know if any of you heard of Acorns, but I use Acorns. And so what it does is actually tied to my debit card. And so whatever I actually use, so let's say I ended up going to Target and I spent Target sometimes is the devil. That's a side note.
Girl.
Because you go on Target and
for milk and come out.
And you come out with, anyway, I digress. So let's say I went to Target and I spent $5.40 on something, the 60 cents. So it'll round up, and that 60 cent will go into the Acorns account. So it's called Acorns because you're just saving like the squirrels, everything. You're just saving a little bit. You're putting a little bit to the side. Well, one year I didn't touch that for quite some time. And I mean, it went up to like over $300 just with change, automatically going in there. So there's little small things that you can do. There are some apps that are very savvy. And again, Acorns is one that I use to take the change. So just think of like a piggy bank. If you spent some cash and you went home, you put the change in the piggy bank. That's what Acorn sort of is, but it's tied to your card. So that's something that I found that was really helpful. But in terms of investing, can you just share in terms of, women and investing, and are there any small steps or tips that you can give for women who may be new to investing or may not want to have their money tied up, or, whatever the case may be?
So, you started this off with playing the song. I think it's Donna Summer that sings that, right? She works hard for her money. And so we all work hard for our money, but what we don't do a good job of is having our money work as hard for us as we do for it. And let me tell you what I mean by that. If you put $5,000 in the bank today, I think at the end of the month, you're going to have $5,000.03. Excuse me. And so that's not, you worked hard for that $5,000. So you would want that money, excuse me, to work hard for you. One of the problems that you have when we put money in the bank is it's not working hard for you. It's not earning you anything. And when you look at the effect of inflation and taxes, if you're just having money, excuse me, John. If you're just putting money in the bank and it's sitting there and it's earning you pennies every month, it's not working hard for you. You're not giving it the ability to outpace the effect of inflation and taxes. And what I mean by that is, think about it. Gas is some ridiculous amount right now. So gas is inching up like this, yet your money is sitting in the bank stagnant. Gas went up, I believe, 10 cents in one day, but that 5,000 you have sitting in the bank earned you 3 cents that month. That's not working hard for you. And so investing is how you do that. Now, there are no guarantees for investing. People ask me all the time, Kimberly, give me a hot stock tip. The first one is buy low and sell high. The second one is buy the things you use. And so what I mean by that is there are certain companies that you go throughout your day, and please forgive me, I can't give specific recommendations without having an individual relationship with someone. But let me tell you what I do. There are things that you use every single day, and that you've been using those things every single day since you came into the world. And this company makes those things. Why not buy those things? I'll give you a perfect example. Michael Jordan sells the same shoe every 3 months in a different color. It sells out in 10 minutes. And he has actually made more money selling sneakers than he did his entire basketball career. But instead, we're putting our money in the bank. Let me give you an example, and I want to read this to you. If you pick any 3-year period in the history of the stock market, and so when we talk about investing, we're talking about investing in the stock market. You take any 3-year period, go from 1926 to 1929, 1932 to 1935. You take any of those 3-year periods, you have an 84% chance of the market being in positive territory. So again, I'm going to use that same lottery ticket example I used with life insurance. If I gave you 10 lottery tickets, or I said to you, hey, I got 10 lottery tickets and 8 of them are going to be winners, you probably knock me down trying to get those 8 lottery tickets, because guess what? You like those odds. You've got to have your money working as hard for you as you do for it. Now, I'll give you a perfect example. I had braids yesterday. I took my braids out yesterday, and I went at 7:30 this morning and got my hair done. There are some things that you need to pay for. And if money is not what you do, or you're not an expert at it, get a financial advisor. And I'm not saying that simply because I am a financial advisor. I'm saying that because it's so important that if you are not an expert at it, or it's not what you do, go find someone that can help you do it well. See, money it's constant. We make decisions about money all day, every day, and investing is a part of it. And if you just have that money sitting in a bank, you're not keeping pace. And so that's how we continue to lose ground. And that's how that generational wealth continues to widen. See, let me tell you something. Our spending is up 14%. And when I say our, I'm talking about Black people. Yet our net worth is down. And so I'm going to say it the way I said it to you in that the last seminar you saw me on. What that means, if our spending is up and our net worth is down, that means we're buying the wrong shit. We're buying depreciating assets because we're spending more of them, but our net worth is going down. The stock market gives you the ability for your money to grow, for it to appreciate. And that's why that wealth gap continues to widen, because we own the wrong stuff. I keep seeing on social media this dumb rent versus buy discussion. No, real estate is one of the quickest ways you build wealth. You cannot pass down apartment 12B to your heirs, but you can pass down a stock portfolio, you can pass down your investments, and you can do those things. So it's important that you invest, because you need to give your money the opportunity to grow for a number of reasons. And the main one is we live longer. We're going to need more money. You know, it used to be a time you retired at 55, you were dead at 62. You retire at 55 now, and you're a woman, there's a strong probability you're going to live to be somewhere between 82 and 85. You have to have enough money to last you that long. Go query any Walmart greeter. They're not there because they want to be there. They're there because they have to be there. They didn't plan for retirement. And so if I know that my money's got to last me 30 years, I've got to give that money a chance to grow. Investing does that.
Absolutely. And I can appreciate that. And one of the things that I will share before I move to Shonita is I was actually on bed rest. I had surgery. And so Kimberly reached out about an event she was having. And so I ended up attending it. And it was something that I've been praying about for a while, and only a very, very, very select few, like maybe one or two fingers, people knew that it was something that I was praying about. I received confirmation. I received an additional confirmation. So I received confirmation from Pastor John Hanna out of Chicago. And then the seminar that Kimberly had, I received additional confirmation. And so many people, I can't even say many people know, because a lot of people don't know. So let me say that many people don't know that I did end up buying an investment property. And so I do have a tenant, have a house, have, all of those things. And that was the thing, is that, Kimberly, your session that I actually attended, where you said, look, you need to buy some stuff, you need to own some stuff, or whatever the case may be. I didn't know initially that. So back in 2020, when I started saving, I knew that I was saving for a reason. I didn't know exactly what God had me saving for, but it ended up being revealed towards the end of the year what I was saving for and why God wanted me to save. And so, now here we are, have a tenant. I'm able to bless the tenant, and the tenant, came to me and she was saying, it's a great feeling to be able to give something to a family, to be able to allow this mother and her 4 children to have this opportunity in this nice home, everything new flooring, new, like everything new, refrigerator, stove, just, top of the line stuff. And it's a great feeling. So in addition to, there's some perks tied to it for me from a tax standpoint, from an income standpoint, from an investment standpoint, to be able to give back to other people. There's a beauty in that as well. The stewardship piece, being able to help other people. And so that was really important to me. And the thing is, a lot of times people didn't understand, and even now, why I'm strict with my spending. It doesn't matter how much money I have in the bank, have in a bank money market account, in my Fidelity, whatever the case may be. There are certain things I'm not paying for, and I'm not spending that. I don't care what I have. I'm not spending my money on that. I would rather take that money and do something else with it. And that's just where I'm at, with that. But where, Shonita, in terms of how do you feel, and this is for both of you, but Shonita, I'm gonna throw it to you first. How do you feel this keeping up with the Joneses? How do you feel that actually keeps us behind, trying to keep up with other people? Or, you see this person doing this, or, oh, I saw online this person was in Dubai, or whatever the case. And now I need to go, even though I barely have a pot to piss in. I'm just saying it, the way that I'm saying it. But how do you feel that sometimes keeps us behind, women behind, as a whole? And
Anita,
any tips that you have for that?
Before you answer that, let me please say this. Remember, most people think you have to have a whole pot of money, that you have to already be rich to invest. You don't. You can start with $25 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month. Just start. The way you eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So just start. So I don't want you to think you have to already be rich to invest. No, start where you're at. I'm sorry, Shonita, but I want to make sure I got that in.
No, that was good. No. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I've heard that before too, Kimberly, about the eating the elephant one bite at a time. And I actually sat there and thought about it like, wow, that makes sense. So I think, Joy, the keeping up with the Joneses mentality is the quickest way to your downfall. We use social media for so many things right now. And if you try to live someone else's made up reality, you will find yourself in turmoil. People post and say exactly what they want you to see. You don't see what goes on behind the scenes. So they're in Dubai, like you said. But do you know that they've been saving for however long? Do you know it could be a sponsored trip from their employer? I mean, there are so many things that go on, but they're not going to tell you that, because that doesn't make me Instagram famous, right? There are so many different options. Like, even just, I like shopping. I like shiny things, right? So maybe I can't keep up with the Joneses. How about What about the Johannes's, I guess? Instead of just outright buying something or using up my credit cards to do it, you know, they have so many options now. Like, you got to buy now, pay over time. And that has literally exploded. You got Klarna, Sezzle. I wrote these down. Afterpay, PayPal, Pay in 4, Zip, which used to be Quad Pay, Affirm, Tabby. And I got excited when I found out Tory Burch is on Afterpay. Macy's is on Klarna. I couldn't believe it. You wouldn't think that these major, you know, department stores would be affiliated with such a thing. Like, it's modern layaway, if you will. You know, you put it in layaway back in the day, you couldn't get your product till later. Now I can have my product, and guess what? I can put it in my budget. I can adjust my budget and have fun. So again, like I said before, if you keep your why in front of you and ignore everyone else's quote unquote fun that you don't even know how it's funded, you'll succeed.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And so everyone, I do want to just stop and share this. Kimberly is going to have to hop off in a little bit. If you have specific questions, please go ahead and feel free to type in the chat. If you do have questions, I see Tanisha did mention it's very helpful to have a financial advisor. And, you know, here's the thing, the stress that comes with financial turmoil, there's so much stress and anxiety and potential depression that comes with not having financial peace or being in financial. You have to, just like you have to go to a doctor when you're sick, just like 2 weeks ago, we talked about mental health and therapy. The financial advisor may be that therapist for you, but on a whole different level. Instead of a mental therapist, you know, this is a financial therapist that can help you, you know, get some things back on track. I actually wrote down, as Shonita was talking, delayed gratification. That's what I wrote down, delayed gratification. I feel like sometimes, you know, we want everything now. And so one thing that I'll share with you again, in terms of what I did, and this is not for everyone, but what I did, I don't have a car note, but I do have a title. My car is paid off. So I don't have a car note, I have a title. And so because my car note is paid off, and because my car is paid off and I don't have a car note, I actually take that like $400, and that is extra money that is saved or invested, I should say, every month. So I take the $400, I save it. Before, I always need it. Now, again, to each their own. I'm just saying what I've done as it pertains to my savings and my investing. At one point, I did always have a lease, but I also started driving a lot. So I was driving too much. I was always going over, and it just ended up being a mess. And so I did end up financing the last car that I had, paid the sucker off. And so with that, that's just one of the things that I did. Something else that I do as part of my fun, I do have an American Express card. I am very, very responsible with my actual American Express card. So when I actually put something on my American Express, I immediately pay it off. But this is the thing, I use the points. So I'm able to get points from American Express. Exactly, Tanisha, I'm able to get the points. And that sometimes is that actually is my fun money. That is sometimes my airplane and travel money, is the points that I get from my American Express. So I literally, whatever I can, I'll put it on that American Express, but again, I immediately pay it off. And as such, I will tell you, my actual credit score is the highest it has ever been, in the excellent range, because I ended up, having another credit. So I had, something, this is the only credit card that I have. And at first I didn't have a credit card. And so that credit card, me paying it, me being consistent and diligent paying it, that actually helped with my credit score as well. So I did want to share that, but there are some other options as well. When we talked about different ways that you can save. So maybe Meredith mentioned the hair. So a couple of you mentioned, doing your own hair. Maybe that money that you would have used for your hair or for nails or for whatever, maybe that's what you take and put it in that Fidelity account or Transamerica or John Hancock, whoever it is that you want to use. Maybe that's what you use actually to start investing.
Dr. Joy, before I leave, can I touch on something? You just mentioned something very important, your credit score.
Absolutely.
Cash might be king, but credit is queen. If you have good credit, there's nothing you can't get. If you have bad credit, there's nothing you can get. And so I want to make sure we understand the importance of having a good credit score. Here's the thing, and we all have different philosophies. I truly believe that if you can't pay cash for it, you shouldn't buy it. Because most of us can afford our necessities. It's the wants that get us in trouble. And so, for instance, I am a person shoe girl. I am. But if I'm going to buy
you are. And wait, yes, you are. And when you traveling, you be on it. You hear me?
If I'm going to buy a purse, a shoe, or anything, first of all, my budget is very simple. 10% to God, 20% savings and investing, and I need to be able to live off the 70%. So first of all, if that purse or those shoes don't fit in my 70%, then I can't afford it. But if I am going to buy one, when I do buy one, I have to either save or invest the exact same amount. That's the rule I live by. So if I'm going to buy a $1,000 Louis Vuitton purse or whatever it is, and they don't cost $1,000 these days, they're way, way more expensive, but whatever I'm going to buy, I have to be able to save or invest, or save and or invest that same amount of money. And so make sure that your credit score is high. A good credit score is somewhere between 720, anything over 720, 760, you can get anything you want. If your credit score is less than that, you need to work on your credit score. You know, I just refinanced. I built my house 2 years ago. I just refinanced it Friday. I had a ton of equity in it. I reduced the interest rate, all of those things. I paid nothing because I had equity for one, but I also had a good credit score. So remember this, cash is king, but credit is queen, and you have to manage that credit score. You cannot bury your head in the sand about it. You cannot assume the ostrich position. If your credit score is not good, go do some work on it. And here's the funny thing, and I normally don't say this, there's nothing that I or anybody else can do for your credit score that you can't do for yourself. So all of these scamming companies out here, credit repair, and we can fix your credit and we'll put you on a trade line and all of that. No, go to annualcreditreport.com, annualcreditreport.com. You are allowed, it is a law that you can get your credit report from each of the 3 reporting agencies free once per year. So you can get one from Experian, you can get one from Equifax, you can get one from TransUnion. Go pull your credit report. Make sure that what's on there is valid and actually belongs to you. Make sure what's on there is legit. And then what is actually on there that belongs to you, if there are errors or problems, or you need to work on paying those things off. We need to do a better job at managing our credit, because guess what? There's not anything that we do these days where they don't look at your score. Dr. Joy mentioned State Farm. I worked at State Farm years ago before I started my own firm. And when I got to State Farm and learned that they use your credit score to determine your auto insurance. And I can be very militant at sometimes. I was like, no, they just dead wrong. That's another way to keep Black people down. And because, Black people don't always have good credit scores. And this is just one way, another way that the man is trying to do. No, the man not trying to do anything. Because the studies show that if you're irresponsible in one part of your life, i.e. your credit, you are more than likely irresponsible in other parts, i.e. driving. So therefore, they charge you a higher insurance rate. So that's another way when we talk about, wasting money and finding money in our current budget. Well, if you're paying more for car insurance because you've got a low credit score, that's a waste of money. That's something you can fix. So please, please, please go work on your credit score. That's one of the things that keeps us down as a people, because we can't afford to go buy homes and invest, and we pay more for car insurance. I saw someone's post speaking on social media. This girl bought a 20, and it was supposedly from the salesperson. He sold her a 2015 Audi at an interest rate of 28.49%.
Oh my gosh.
that is highway robbery. So go fix your credit, because then they can't take advantage of you. You can take advantage of them. I use this home that got my equity out, and I'm going to do something else with the equity to make me some more money. So we've got to be smart. You got to use your credit. And my sincere apologies. I've got to go.
Can you include your information, your website? Can you potentially put that in the chat?
I will put it in the chat. I am Kimberly Stewart. The name of my firm is KRS Wealth Management. The KRS actually is my initials, but it also stands for knowledge, responsibility, and stewardship. So thank you for having me. I appreciate you. I'll put my stuff real quick in the chat.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye,
it was great seeing you.
Wonderful job.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you. So Shonita, so I just want to piggyback off something that that Kimberly ended up, that we were talking about in terms of the credit score piece. So you mentioned that some things that you actually do is, along the lines of, assisting as it pertains with credit scores, or at least with helping with credit. What are some ways that people can actually work to increase their credit? What are some suggestions that you have, practical suggestions that you have to actually try to work on increasing?
I'll tell you this, Joy. Kimberly mentioned a very easy process, and that was going to annualcreditreport.com and pulling your credit score, your credit report, and knowing what's on there. The very first thing that I suggest to my clients is, for those things that are on there, dispute. There's nothing, like she said, that those that can fix your credit and you're paying them a fee for, that you can literally do on your own. Those creditors have a time period to come back and prove that transaction actually belongs to you. After that 30 days, it has to be removed. So I would say dispute it from all credit bureaus. Secondly, if you have, I believe it's 6 to 8 months worth of on-time payments, that too raises your credit score. The ratio of your credit cards having 30% available, 70% available, 30% used, that drastically increases your credit score. One other thing I would tell people is, don't necessarily go off and cancel and start closing all of your credit cards, because you need history. You need credit history. That's the one impact that affects your credit score. I'm trying to think another thing that we talk about.
The credit mix. So sometimes the credit mix.
Yeah, like your debt to income ratio, and having, just like you mentioned, you just recently have real estate. Having real estate in your portfolio as it pertains to your credit, that increases your credit score. Like, I've done these things personally when, like I said before, I like new cars. So when it's time to go to that negotiation table, I know, one, that money talks, right? So I budgeted and I saved to have a nice either down payment or cash out, whichever I choose. Secondly, I need to have that credit score north of 720, period. I mean, if I'm going to finance it, I want to have it financed at a reasonable interest rate. Anything under 720, they're going to consider you tier 2, and you're going to pay higher. And it's unnecessarily so. But I think the base of it all, the foundation, is a livable and realistic budget.
So again, if there are any questions or any comments, please feel free to comment in the chat. And we just have a couple more minutes. What I did want to share is in terms of, from a personal standpoint. So I will say that one of the things that, when I was actually working with a realtor the earlier part of last year sometime, the one thing that she ended up sharing was in terms of what people do. Sometimes what people do is, when their children are going off, and I know, Nikki, you and I briefly talked about this, what tends to happen is, if their children are going away to college, sometimes what the parents will do, if they're in this space, they will go ahead and buy a house allow their child to stay in one room and then rent out the other rooms. And that's income, for their child. So I see that a lot in terms of trying to help the children at a younger age. To know, I see you made a comment, or you had a question: how early is too early to get kids started with credit? I've seen where, and I've heard where some parents put their child down as an authorized user on their credit cards. And again, that's one of the things that I've heard is in terms of the real estate, from the real estate standpoint, is even sometimes putting the child, on the actual mortgage or whatever the case may be, and then also allowing them to get the income. So instead of the child actually having to work when they're in college or away at school, the income that they're pulling in from the rent is sometimes, the child's, sometimes that's what the child is able to use. Shonita, so you said, what else do you have? How early is too early? What age to get kids started with credit?
I don't think there ever is a too early age to get them. I mean, are we talking about understanding how credit works, or introducing them to this is when you start using credit? I think
Let's
maybe
say both of them.
I would say 12, 13, 12, 13, maybe creating your own credit and teaching them how to be responsible. That's when they're going to high school, right? You got pep rallies, you got games, things of that nature. They should be getting like allowances probably. And you can teach them the importance of money and the importance of debt repayment as early as 12, 13. That's my personal opinion. I would think earlier than that, we start teaching them financial literacy as soon as they know what a coin is, as soon as they can identify this is a penny, this is a nickel, this is a dime, and this is a quarter. You mentioned earlier about the piggy bank. What great way to teach them financial literacy, but using those coins that they're learning. Before we go though, because I know we're running out of time, I wanted to tell everybody about these budgeting apps, because a lot of people do budgeting and they think that it has to be, spreadsheet. Some people like it tangible. And I personally do. I'm a tangible type person. So much so.
Can you potentially type it in the chat so that people can see the spelling too? Because I know sometimes. Yeah. So I would say if you want to say it and then type it in the chat too, so that they have it, that may be helpful.
Absolutely. And I'll just go over the list real quick. And these were all recommended by Forbes. Personal Capital is one. Mint, M-I-N-T, is the other one. YNAB is You Need a Budget. This one is Pocket Guard, Good Budget, and Honeydew. And then you have a couple other ones that were recommended by NerdWallet. It's called Every Dollar, and that one is marketed heavily by Dave Ramsey. I think that is the one that he owns. And Expensify, and then another one called Truebill. And Truebill works in two arenas because it actually looks for unused subscriptions and cancels them for you. So I wanted to say that before we wrapped up, so everyone would have these. Technology is at your fingertips. You can succeed with this.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And the last thing I just want to share is I think that as a whole, we have to be unapologetic about our finances and where we are. And anyone who knows me, they know that that's just my personality now, is I am a lot more unapologetic. So for instance, if I don't want to do something, I'm not going to do it. Or if it's not in my budget, then it's not in my budget. So now there are times, especially in the DMV, where, let me tell you something, and Meredith can attest to this. Meredith, you can attest to this. We were recently talking about this. This DC area is the brunch is a part of the culture. Brunch is a part of the culture. Do you hear me? Brunch. People are going to brunch you to death. And so with that, there comes a time where if you are about your business and you're like, I have this goal, I'm saving, and I see Kimberly Stewart just put her information in the chat. So if you want to check her out, especially in terms of investing, again, I've been in on some of her webinars where it was 100% only her talking about straight investing, different types of investing, that information is there. But yes, so brunch, see, Meredith said it too, Sunday brunch, it is a thing. It is a part of the culture. But like, I am unapologetic in terms of no, but we can go walking. So yeah, every now and then I will have brunch, but we can also go walking. So maybe it's actually considering some other things that you can do. Maybe, I know Kiera and we briefly talked, and she was saying one of her friends, they would do, I guess, brunch like once a month or something. And now they've got to the point where they've started saying, you know what, let's try a new dish, or let's, cook something different, or whatever the case. That may be something that you want to do. So again, instead of going to brunch, maybe you all, now if you know the person, because you don't want nobody who nasty, but you all get together and maybe you do like a Sunday brunch, potluck type thing, where you go over someone's house. I am a movie person, so one of the things that I do, I love my movies. One of the things that I do is go to the matinee. So instead of paying the full amount, going after 6 or whatever, I go to the matinee to save money. Maybe you go, anyone in Michigan, maybe you go to Imagine on a Tuesday, where you can also get a free popcorn. At least you could get a free popcorn at one point, the matinee on a Tuesday. So there are other things that we can do to actually save our money and be unapologetic and say, hey, maybe it's a way for you to bring in other people. So you say, you know what, this is what I'm doing a savings challenge. Would you like to do it with me? I know yesterday or the day before, I called Sabrina and I ended up saying, my sister and I ended up saying, hey, I know we were talking about a sister trip, but depending on how much it costs, I'm not going because I have goals, and paying a lot of money, that's just not what I'm going to do. And I'm I'm unapologetic in terms of my goals, and what it doesn't mean that any of us, that we don't actually have the money or whatever, but there are certain things, if we have goals and if we have things that we see in our future that we need to make sure that we're preparing for. So Shonita did end up putting a lot of information in the chat as it pertains to personal capital, Mint, YNAB, Pocket Guard, Good Budget, Honeydew, Every Dollar, Expensify, Truebill, Stash, Digit. As well as Digit. And then Kimberly did put our information in there, krswm.com. So krswm.com. She also put her number. Shonita, can you go ahead and provide your email address and your information for how people can get in touch with you if they do have, you want to put that in the chat if they want to get in touch with you as well. And again, while we're wrapping up, any questions, please feel free to type any questions, or please feel free to share any additional tips that you have for saving, for budgeting. Are there any apps that any of you are using that you want to share with everyone? So for instance, for me, in terms of my investing, I do have Fidelity. I use Fidelity and Hancock. So I do use Fidelity and Hancock. I do have a money market account as well. And then, well, two money market accounts at two different. So the other thing I do is I have two different bank accounts. So I do have a bank account that I don't have access to. I don't have a debit card. I don't have any of that with, and it's a little bit of a distance in Baltimore. And that is on purpose. So that is one of my savings bank accounts, or sometimes my travel bank account. So I believe in having a different account that I don't have access to. Yeah, so thank you for that, Brittany. So what I actually did, I just had a goal. So, and I'm going to tell you, Michelle Singletary has a really good book out, and I did this a while ago, but it's more like it's almost like a financial fast. And so anything that's non-essential, you are eliminating that. So, during that time frame, for me though, I didn't do that Michelle Singletary that fast. But what I did was I had this goal, and that's however I had to meet it, that's how I was going to meet it. Now I did joke with my niece, and I was like, well, if I got to eat peanut butter and jelly every day and ramen noodles every day, I'm gonna meet this goal. Now it was not that serious. I didn't go all the way there, but I did eat a lot at home. I literally, on a lot of times on Sunday, I would go ahead and prep for the week. So I would have food already prepped. I would have fruit already cut up. Everything was already done. I did end up cutting back on, so I used to love Fiji water. And I did come back and start getting like a no-name. Come back and get a no-name brand, like the Target water. No, it was the Giant water. So I started cutting back however I could. I cut back as it pertained to, again, the mani-pedis, even as it pertained to hair. So a lot of times, if you ever see my hair in a bun, I did that. Absolutely. When you see it down, I don't have the patience, so somebody else did it. So I cut back even in terms of getting my hair done. And Kiera, I don't know if you're on, if you want to share some of the things that you did, if you are on, if you want to type it in the chat, but those were, and then Brittany, the other thing I did, to be honest, I did cut back on that brunch. Again, I was like, no, because like, so there's this restaurant in DC called La Vie. It is so good, beautiful view, but the brunch is like $50. You know, and it's like, for me, on top of that, I'm a vegetarian. So it's not like I'm eating the crab legs, you know, or any, you know, whatever they had. I'm not eating any of that. So that was like a waste of money, you know, for me. So I really started cutting back, you know, on that as well. But what I can say is definitively say that for me, this is not for everyone. So I say it again, Dave Ramsey Financial Peace is not for everyone, but for me, that was extremely helpful. And that is really what started me on my journey to financial peace. That was what started me as it pertains to paying off debt. That was what started me really looking at my credit card. I do have, and this is why it's so important, Shonita mentioned in terms of paying, you know, and paying on time, right, Shonita? Because I have so while my credit is excellent, like very good, there are still 2 things that are on my credit report from 6 years ago that's still lingering on my credit report. So that's the thing, is that a lot of times it stays on there for up to 70 years. Now I did actually type a letter, had to do with Macy's. So I did type a letter to Macy's to try to dispute it. And Macy's was like, no, boo. They responded, they said, no, boo. This is what you did. And no, we're not taking this off of your, we're not taking this off. But I at least tried. So I give myself
like,
credit
own
for
it.
trying. Yes.
They told you to own it.
Yeah. So Kiera mentioned eating at home, using apartment amenities. Oh, and that's something really good too. So if you are in an apartment, if they have a fitness center, then maybe it is using that fitness center instead of actually, you know, having that membership at Planet Fitness or wherever, Anytime Fitness, Lifetime, whatever. She said she started doing shellac instead of acrylic, doing my own hair, and no shopping. And yes, the no shopping was really, really big during that time frame as well. So anyone else want to share? So again, Brittany, and it was like a time frame. So I want to say we started like September and then we ended December 25th. So it was like September 1st to like December 25th. That was 2020.
I have one too, Joy, the cash envelope system. Like I said before, I'm a person that is tangible, right? You tend to spend less when you can see your money leaving versus going and swiping a card or tapping a card or using Apple Pay. So there is a cash envelope system where you physically take the money that you've allotted for a particular category of expense, variable expense that's on your budget, place it in an envelope, write the name of it, and use it just for that. It would be those variable expenses like groceries, eating out, what you call personal, beauty, things of that nature, gas. Just take a white envelope and use and spend from that only. Don't even take your debit card with you at all. And that is one way that you can basically watch your money, physically watch your money. And it is beneficial. I've seen so many different packets that people have, and it's quite funny to me. I'm like, why would I spend more money to try to save money when I can go to the dollar store and buy the envelopes and get a ton of envelopes and do it that way? But that's me because I'm frugal, right? I keep my why in front of me. And just like you said before, there's just some things that I'm just not going to spend money on.
Yeah, and I will share this. So that was one of the things also that Dave Ramsey talks about, is that envelope system. And I don't practice that. I'm not as diligent with that, but I will tell you exactly what Shonita said. When you actually have Kiera, I use your mom's streaming services too. Won't he do it? So hopefully it doesn't come to an end. But when you actually see that money leaving, so if you know that you have this $20, and if, like, I would try to make that $20 stretch. Do you hear me? I would try to make it stretch all the way. So Tanisha mentioned she does the actual saving based off the week, save the money according to the week of the year. So the first week in January, save $1. The second week in January, save $2. And then go through that. Now, Tanisha, it's just the week, or is it like per, is it the day? Or is it just only week one, $1?
I think I've seen that before. I think it is.
Yeah, it's per week. So you can do like one. So it's per week up until the 52 weeks. And then you can do it in any increment. You can do $10, $20, whatever your liking is per week, but you just increase it by that week. So if you're doing $10, first week is 10, the next week is 20. And you just kind of save like that too.
Okay, no, that's really helpful. Any other suggestions that people want to give before we go ahead and end? We are a little over. I do apologize in advance, but this has been a great conversation. So anything else that anyone want to share? So again, Tanisha mentioned the saving system that she has there. I would say whatever you save. So again, I would say look at your insurance, your car insurance. See if you may have to switch, insurance companies, which is, I actually did it twice. So initially I was State Farm, then I went to Liberty. Here I'm actually with Progressive, and consider, again, those streaming services. So Hulu, I did end up doing, so I do pay for the Hulu, but I use Sabrina's Netflix, but Hulu I pay per year, and I did save a little bit. With my insurance, I do pay like per 6 months or something like that. That is a little money that's saved. Like Meredith mentioned the cable aspect, and I cannot stand, sometimes they try to get you. I was so annoyed when I called AT&T, because sometimes they try to get you to bundle, and it's cheaper sometimes to bundle than to just have one service. So I've tried to get rid of my cable because I really do not watch actual TV like that. But Meredith, I'm having a hard time, but that is a really good one, as well, especially if you have all the other, things as well, Stars, HBO, all of that. So that's something as well. And I don't see any other Sunday brunch, cutting back on Sunday brunch as well. So that is actually all that that I want to share. Shonita, before we end, are there any last minute words that you want to share with everyone? And then again, I just want to make sure, okay, so Shonita did put her information in here for you. So I'm going to put it in here again. And then Shonita, any last minute words that you want to share with everyone?
Two things. I am placing in the chat now a couple of those quote unquote roundup apps. We were talking about investing earlier, and we've pivoted to another topic, but I wanted to share these with everybody. These apps here are apps that round up, they take your spare change and put into investment accounts. Acorn specifically, you have Chime. They don't necessarily put in investment accounts, but it rounds up the change and saves it into a spending. We have Capital that starts with a Q, rounds up the change to the nearest dollar and moves it to a savings. Again, not investments, but still, these are just the little things. Like, you can start anywhere. Lastly, what I can say to everybody as far as the budgeting piece and savings and everything is concerned, if you stick to it, if you commit to it, have the discipline and the self-control, I can promise you progress, not perfection. And I think that's what we're all looking for, is progress. We want financial health now and later.
Amen. I definitely agree with that. And again, I will share that I do use Acorns, and Stash is another one that I personally have on my phone, and I use Stash as well. So I do use some of those apps as well. and it is extremely helpful. Again, I would suggest if you know that you don't have discipline, maybe you can go get an account at a bank and don't get an ATM card, so it's not easily accessible for you to use, that money. When I was in Michigan, I had an account at First Independence Bank. I lived in Oakland County. First Independence was more like the one that I would go to was like in Wayne County or somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, so it was much further away from me in Detroit, and I lived in Novi, so that was something that helped me. I see Stephanie T mentioned if Sprint T-Mobile is your cell phone provider, they offer Hulu for free. So again, some of the free things. I just booked a trip. I ended up booking for Kiara's birthday, but I ended up booking a hotel for our upcoming trip. And I got 15% off. So I ended up, it just said, if you sign up for the loyalty program, it's no money, no cash, whatever they wanted, your email, whatever, you can get 15% off. So if it's anything that's 15% off or free or whatever, I'm for it. Free is for me. If it's free, it's for me. It's part of the reason why I like Southwest, free bags. Don't got to deal with all the craziness. So with that, again, thank you all, everyone. Really do appreciate you. Hope that it was helpful. Hope some seeds were planted. If you don't have life insurance, please consider getting life insurance. That is something that is extremely important. Please consider, saving your money and start somewhere. Like Shonita mentioned, even when you think about whether you're trying to lose weight, whether you're trying to gain weight, whether you're trying to exercise more, you have to just start. So just start somewhere. Kimberly mentioned this earlier, just start, do it, commit to it, get an accountability partner. So if you need an accountability partner, get an accountability partner, someone to help you, as well. But again, these are for those who are Christian, for those who follow the Bible and the word. Finance is in the Bible so many times, even as it pertains to being the lender and not the borrower. So there's so many principles in the Bible as it pertains to finances. So we want to make sure that we're good stewards of our money, that we're saving for our seed and our children's children and our family as a whole, but also so that we can actually help other people and help the least of these and be a blessing to other people. We are blessed to be a blessing, but we can't help other people if we, essentially are not in that good space. So again, thank you to each and every one of you. I pray blessings over each and every one of your life. Pray that God will help you in this area of finance and that God will give you double, but that you know what to do with that double. So with that being said, have a great night, everyone. Thanks so much. Yes, so this is being recorded and I will send it out to everyone as well. Everyone who actually attended. So thanks so much. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.